Hey everybody, welcome back here once again for another video. Now, Erik Larsen is not somebody I would give a lot of time to listen or care about what he says, because most of what he says could be summed up as, pretty much derivative crap. He made statements over the years and done certain things that kind of make you think that the man has no common sense at all. I covered in a previous video something that he did, which I will get to in a little while. But like the old saying goes, even a broken clock could be right 2 times for the day. But Erik Larsen makes a statement here that I think accurately sums up what I have said, what a lot of other people have been saying, what other people feel, what other people are talking about in response to what is being done, basically comic book wise. Now here's an article from Bounding Into Comics. Savage Dragon creator blasts Marvel and DC Comics for replacing iconic characters. I want it to flop. Savage Dragon creator and chief financial officer of Image Comics Erik Larsen recently blasted Marvel and DC Comics for replacing the iconic characters with new characters that try to take up the iconic characters' identities. Larsen made his thoughts on the matter public in a recent thread on Twitter, where he stated, "For some reason, the conventional wisdom at Marvel and DC is to have new characters assume the identities of old characters. But if I'm a fan of Iron Man, I'm absolutely not buying your shitty new Iron Man. I want it to flop so that old Iron Man can return." Now this is something I 100% agree with. When they decided to make Riri Williams Iron Man, they basically took Tony Stark, all the thing that he built up over the years, and decided to replace him with a 16-year-old black girl. It made no sense, and me and everybody else wanted it to flop. Why are you just, because this is what I keep saying, when I say they sell the name, not the character. You could make new characters, but you don't want to do that. You just want to swap out characters and figure, well, people are supposed to love it. He elaborated in his subsequent tweet, and if you're going to reinvent a character from the ground up, why not just create a new character? You've done 90% of the work already. Why not give that character a new name and let the old one continue to exist? Exactly my point. You already have done the majority of the work, but you just don't want to do that because I don't know if it's that you're too lazy, you're not interested, you don't care, you just want to do something. But if you could create a character, you can create a character because you've already made a character, whether you change their gender, change this, whatever, you've already done that. So you've done most of the work. All you have to do now is create a persona and build on these characters. But you're not doing that at all. You're not doing that at all. You just want to keep flopping them in and figure that, that's going to somehow sell something in the end. But it doesn't. It looks really ridiculous and just seems lazy. Next, Larsen pointed out that by doing derivative characters instead of original creators and sharing in the potential profits from it, creators get back-end participation in new characters, but not in reinvented ones. If Ed Brubaker had made the reveal of the Winter Soldier a red herring and instead revealed he was Fred Johnson, he would have had participation in that character. Instead, he got nothing. This is an interesting point because Winter Soldier was revealed to be Bucky Barnes. Well, Bucky then. But that was a character who had already been created. So had Ed Brubaker made Winter Soldier somebody entirely different, he would have created a new character, and he would have been able to share in the profits and in the revenue for this character. But by making him a reinvention of an older character that had already been out, he didn't get any shares in that new character. I think the only thing he got was pretty much a ticket to the premiere of the Captain America Winter Soldier movie or something like that. That was pretty much it. But if he had made an original character, because Winter Soldier is an interesting character, had he made this person, original, he would have had something there. But instead we got that, and then we had Bucky taking up, he became Captain America at one point of time. He love to pass around that shield. You pretty much just reinvented our old character instead of making somebody new. Larsen then pointed to Blue Beetle and Booster Gold, claiming that he believes many others share his opinion in hoping derivative characters fail. The old Blue Beetle and Booster Gold had a great chemistry. I think a lot of people who might have given the new character a chance didn't want to support the book because they hoped it would fail and the older character would return. Another good point there. The original Blue Beetle and Booster Gold had a good thing about them. They bounced well off of each other and stuff. So when old Blue Beetle, Ted Kord, was killed and they brought in the new Blue Beetle, most people may have initially given it a look just to be interested. But then they just was like, it not making sense, and they moved on because they were hoping the original Blue Beetle would come back. But you didn't do that. And again, had you just made a unique new character, then you could have done that. But the old Blue Beetle, people were hoping might have come back. You would have gotten a something, and you would have had something to build on there. But you didn't. People were not interested because they don't like to see characters keep being rehashed over and over again. He then asserted the whole mindset of I'm not going to give these companies my great ideas is self-destructive. If you give them your great ideas anyway and do it in such a way that you don't get a piece of it. Exactly, because you may say to yourself, well, okay, if I create this new character for them, they will part own it, they may do what they want with it, I'm not going to get anything about it. But you do pretty much all the work for this new character. And all you do is just hand this person over to them, and they just get to slip that into some other character's name. You've pretty much gone about this roundabout way of doing it, but you still lose on anything original that you could have created. Rather than say to yourself, okay, let me do something here that could actually, account for something. No, you just want to just appease to them, and it ends up making you lose in the end. And this is something a lot of these creators need to start thinking about. When asked to clarify his position by artist and writer Phil Jimenez, Larsen stated, I'm a fan. Okay, so the question he asked was, so you're a fan of Tony Stark or James Rhodes, depending, not just Iron Man, yeah? What Erik Larsen said is, I'm a fan of the person in the costume as much or more as I am the costume itself. If I'm reading Batman and you introduce a new Batman and kill off the old Batman, don't count on me to keep reading Batman. Exactly. Batman is Bruce Wayne. Anybody else you bring into that is just selling the name. I mean, they have Jace Fox as Black Batman, who they touted and couldn't stop talking about. Yeah, we have a Black Batman that's so inclusive and so diverse and all this sort of thing. I think they want to set him up in New York City or something like that. Nobody cares. Nobody reads that. Nobody's interested in. Nobody gives a flying guano shit about what the hell Jace Fox and Black Batman has to do. Nobody cares about that. Absolutely nobody cares about that, because people know Batman is Bruce Wayne. That is who they're reading. Batman has a history, has a story, has everything connected to him, and that what draws people in, and they want to read it. They want to be interested in that. When you just race swap or about a character, sexuality or gender or whatever, you're not doing anything original. You're just selling the name, and it shows how much you could care less about your own fan base. When asked for his opinion on Hal Jordan replacing Alan Scott and Barry Allen replacing Jay Garrick, Larsen answered, "First, that was long before I was born. Second, audience turnover at the time was roughly 3 years, made worse by the huge comic book backlash in the 50s. And third, it has been years since the original versions last appeared. Their titles were long cancelled." So there's a huge difference between a company concurrently telling stories with legacy characters while introducing replacement versions, and a company reviving long dead concepts. Exactly. Artist Chris Sotomayor would then ask, "It is different when we know the character is going to die, like in Spawn, or if a main character dies and is replaced by their son with the same name." What Larsen answered is that it's different if it's one creator and not a cynical ploy or marketing stuff. In the case of Malcolm Dragon, readers grew up with him and had known him for years before he had a single adventure. Now, this is an interesting point. It's different when one creator typical we know the character is going to die, like in Spawn, if a main character dies and is replaced by their son with the same name. Now, if a character dies and gets replaced, that's one thing. One of the main Marvel characters that has died and hasn't come back was Marvel, the original Captain Marvel. They brought in Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel, with something that has never borne any fruit, in my opinion. I mean, at first people were kind of interested, but now Carol Danvers has just become an annoying pain in the neck. But you stop and you wonder to yourself when you do that, and when you talk about a character replaced by their son or something. This is something they're trying to desperately to do in DC with Superman. They want to get rid of Clark Kent as badly as possible and replace him with John Kent, even though nobody likes John Kent. Absolutely nobody likes John Kent. Nobody likes anything about him. But this is what you're trying to push this on them. It's lazy and ridiculous. Now, okay, Larsen would further flesh out his opinion in more responses. In one response he noted, "I was saying creators should create more original characters. That's an original character. Creators should do more of that." Twitter user Richard Adam Walls believes the issue is more complex and it involves trademarked characters, explaining, "You want to keep trademarked X, you need to keep publishing books with that name. Otherwise, someone is going to pull a Captain Marvel on you. But trademark X doesn't sell. Easy, completely new concept, same name." Larsen answered, "That's the real bottom line. If DC doesn't keep putting out Blue Beetle comics, they'll eventually lose that trademark. And once it's gone, it's gone. If they can't sell old Blue Beetle, they try new Blue Beetle, and if that dries up, they'll try something else." But again, if you just put in, you have a character already in Blue Beetle, you can make stories for that. You bring in new characters, you won't have this problem. Now, I understand the trademark thing, and if you don't sell this character, it doesn't work, but that is not really the reader's problem. You have to make things that the readers would want to read. If you don't make that, you can't blame people for not reading your books. You have to put out characters and stories that will keep people interested. You're not doing that. Another user would also bring up the copyright issue. However, Larsen will provide a very different answer. Okay, but if I'm working at DC and I want to create a new version of, say, Blue Beetle with a new costume, new identity, and the whole 9 yards, why not go the extra step and pick a different name? Yeah, I'm 95% of the way there already, and I'd get character equity participation. Exactly. You've already made up the new powers, the new suit, the new, all of these things. Why not just give the person a different name and create a new identity? That's all. One user would claim making new characters are hard to create, which hasn't counted. The point is that they're already creating a new character. They're just calling it something familiar. That is exactly the point. One user indicated they have had enough of derivative Superman characters for representation's sake and suggested creators make something new. Larsen replied, "That's what I prefer and that's what I do. Why do many black characters in comics inherit their mantles from white characters?" This is something I've talked about a lot. Why aren't there more new iconic black characters? At Marvel and DC, there are like 3. Black Panther, Falcon, and Storm, that city set. Exactly. These lot of black characters, and people who seem to understand it, a lot of black characters don't get the recognition, don't get anything that they want. They figure that diversity and representation is taking, sloppy seconds from the white people. No, it's not. It's not. I asked someone once, what would you do? I asked someone once, what would you say if they decided to make Black Panther into a white man? They said to me, oh, that'll never happen. Are you sure about that? They could very well do that if they decide to do it. Look at Falcon. Falcon is a character by himself. He's Falcon. You constantly trying to make him Captain America. You did it before. It didn't work. You come back now and decided to do it again. Why? Because you need to keep pushing this narrative of putting in Falcon into Captain America for some strange reason. Why not create new characters? And this whole derivative Superman characters for representation's sake, it is the truth. You have a character like Icon, who you've never really flushed out, in my opinion. I mean, you could do a lot of things with Icon and have him be an interesting character, but you just pretty much made him a Superman, knockoff Superman thing. Alright, but you could build on that. You could expand him, but no, you are so stuck, unable to do anything about these characters because you don't know how to develop any black characters properly. So you get stuck in it. In response to the user enthusiastically agreeing with him, Larsen provided an analogy to sum up his argument. It's like replacing a Snickers bar with a different candy bar but still calling it Snickers, and using a similar wrapper while arguing that people buy Snickers and love the Snickers brand. Exactly. I mean, if you look at something that they're doing right now over at Marvel, for instance, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness is coming out soon. That's going to make a lot of money. It's going to be a thing that they already set up that to be a really big movie. It's going to make a lot of money. So if people decide to go and watch that movie, they may say to themselves, well, okay, let me go and pick up a Doctor Strange comic book and see what's going on. So they'll find Strange, Strange number 1 or whatever Strange going on. So they will go now. And they won't find Doctor Strange there because Doctor Strange is dead. They killed off Doctor Strange. And they replaced him with Clear Strange, his ex-wife, who's been strolling around like, I'm the Sorcerer Supreme, I'm the Sorcerer Supreme, I'm the Sorcerer Supreme, I'm the Sorcerer Supreme. Why would you do that? Unless somebody who only has knowledge about MCU will have no idea who Clear Strange is. And I stated in a video that I did, Clear Strange should not be the Sorcerer Supreme. The Sorcerer Supreme is Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom is Doctor Strange. If you want to make it like, you want to put it out like Doctor Strange died, but he's coming back because you've already established that when we bringing back Doctor Strange, you could just have Clear Strange just be there holding the mantle for a while, but you need properly to develop this character first. People know who she is, what she's about, what's going on. Okay, and she could be the person there who is appointed to appoint the next Sorcerer Supreme, but she's secretly working to bring back Stephen Strange, so she doesn't take up the mantle. But she doesn't need what you have her move into the Doctor Strange house, strolling around outside, and she and everybody else constantly has to have her say, I'm the Sorcerer Supreme, I'm the Sorcerer Supreme, I'm the Sorcerer Supreme, I'm the Sorcerer Supreme. Why? You're trying to sell this thing. You're trying desperately to sell this thing as some sort of what it's supposed to be, but it's not. Another user completely disagreed, arguing that replacing the characters is how the comic book industry grows and attracts new readers. The user specifically pointed to DC Comics Silver Age. As one replies, it's a somewhat different scenario. Anyway, because comics had been cancelled, reprints were a thing, and readership turned over frequently, so DC was rebuilding, and most readers weren't even really aware that there were previous versions of those characters. Asmod eventually posed the best method for introducing a new character is the tried and true Silver Age Elektra Deadpool method. Introduce a new character in a popular ongoing book and bring them back repeatedly and then spin them off into their own title. Exactly, that would actually work. That way people will get to know the character. Build on the character before you get the character doing something on their own. Now, the thing about it is that Erik Larsen saying these things, what he's saying is the truth. It's absolutely all completely the truth. But when he says these things, and this is the same guy who made this asinine statement. Instead of changing Punisher's chest emblem, they should just have Frank finally realize that he's gay. And the beauty of it is that it wouldn't alter the comics at all. He'd still be dressing in leather, ignoring the ladies, and hanging out in bars with sweaty dudes. This is the same person who made this dotish ass statement. So why would anybody take anything you say seriously? It wasn't too long after that Erik Larsen decided to backtrack on what he said and came out with this thing. The original sin at Marvel and DC was making every character straight and white. Now that there's a huge push for representation, they've been caught with their pants down. But how can they fix the problem? He went on with the movies, it's easy. You just cast your film with a diverse group and ignore the comics and fans on Twitter because nobody cares in the comics. That's more difficult because you can't just swap the races of existing characters. So he backtracked a little bit on what he said previously. But it's something you could probably expect it's Erik Larsen talking about. Bottom line of it for me though is that what he's saying here in these things, I agree with. I think he's quite right for stating these points. It actually makes sense. And I agree with it. You can't keep pushing in these characters when you could just make new characters. It's very insulting to the original work. Race swapping, identity swapping, saying that the original sin at Marvel was making every character straight and white. You may say that, but the characters that they introduce now who aren't straight and white sometimes have no personality of their own. The only thing that they have about them is that and again, they are characters now, black characters you can meet that could be very interesting, but you don't do that. When you make gay characters, the only thing that they are about is being gay, nothing else. You want to push that representation at the expense of doing anything actually worthwhile. So in the end, I agree with what he said here, but then he went back, removed the tweets and backtracked because he can't say them thing out there. You want to cancel him and all kind of madness. But I will say it because I've said it before. My channel is about fighting for the little guy, telling the truth, honest reviews and rants and everything like that, because we pay a lot of money for entertainment, we should get good entertainment. That's it for me here, people. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. If you think that what he said is correct, if you have a different opinion, let me know. If you like the video, be sure to hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, ring the notification bell, you'll be notified every time I put out a new video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.